The global power of idiots does not simply embody the abuse and exploitation of one people by another. This is pure nihilistic violence, the victims of which are everyone, both those who carry it out and those who submit to it. Narcissistic planetary idiots stand closer to nothingness not when they lose something or are subjected to violence, but rather when they exist in comfort, security, and under the illusion of complete subjective freedom. Alexander Dugin, M.H., page 164. Old Marxist-Leninists and new-style Russian propagandists agree that Americans are awful. Alexander Dugin, who poses as a highbrow intellectual, might as well be channeling the curmudgeonly H.L. Mencken, who said the dominant American class was the bourgeoisie. Striking a more academic pose, Dugin quotes Martin Heidegger and Nietzsche to demonstrate the idiocy and the nihilism of Americans. The American globalist liberal, says Dugin, accepts and recognizes the normativity of the American way of life, and is a patented idiot from the philosophical and etymological point of view, a documented idiot, an idiot parading his foolishness above his head like a banner. Of course, Dugin's vituperation has largely been focused on liberal useful idiots, while he makes cooing sounds in the ears of susceptible right-wingers. Only, Dugin is careful to explain that Marxism is not stupid at all. Dugin says, things are more complex with Marxism because, unlike liberalism, Marxism possesses serious philosophical energy drawn from classical German philosophy, Hegelianism, and focused on the problem of alienation. It was this particular aspect of Marxism, according to Heidegger, that made it so attractive and successful. Because we Americans are stupid, Dugin has to explain the simplest things simply, as he does with Tucker Carlson. As Dugin explains to Tucker, it seems that liberalism is a kind of original sin that has supposedly mutated into something toxic. It is not that socialists and other nihilistic cults have hijacked classical liberalism. No. Dugin suggests the ideal of political freedom was doomed to follow a destructive path from the beginning. Dugin never mentions the ancient theory of checks and balances in terms of forestalling social and political corruption. Such ideas, for safeguarding society and individuals, is not part of his political lexicon. Dugin diplomatically guides Carlson to reject the West's ancient political traditions tracing back to Greece and Rome, which emphasize liberty. Here Dugin indirectly explains why government controls, in the Russian Federation Empire, are superior to liberalism. The argument is that one must ultimately choose between ordered collectivism and degenerate individualism. It looks like Tucker Carlson largely accepted Dugin's debunking of freedom. The look on Carlson's face shows him to be a lamb before the intellectual slaughter, and a tasty lamb, indeed, who somehow leads other lambs. This strange ideological amalgam of right and left, which is here on display, must prove to be an explosive mixture in the professional hands of Professor Dugin. In fact, it is one of his specialties. Whereas, with Dr. Hannibal Lecter we had the silence of the lambs, Dr. Alexander Dugin gives us the exploding of the lambs. Given the critical nature of Moscow's information operations and the scare tactics used to frighten Americans into thinking we have pushed Putin too far, we yet can see the emergence of a new narrative, that is, Putin the peacemaker, with Trump getting the lion's share of the credit. However superior the Russians and Chinese are in strategic nuclear weapons, the disparity will be greater in 3 years' time. Why not acquire that advantage? What China and Russia need is to fix their economic mess, and negotiations might do the trick. China needs to learn the secrets of precision manufacturing. Russia needs time to calm the situation in Europe and to open Germany's energy markets once more. Peace is therefore on the table. Only everyone must believe we are on the verge of world war. This is how Russia extracts the most advantageous terms. In setting up his related intellectual swindle, which supports Moscow's strategy, Dugin makes many good points about the West's nihilism. But the East is even more nihilistic and lacks the freedom to wriggle free. Dugin himself is arguably a nihilist, evading true self-knowledge by projecting his negativity onto the West. It is easy to make excuses and blame the idiots in America. He forgets to acknowledge, of course, that those idiots have a decisive advantage. They are not forced, with a gun at their heads, to go against their conscience. I could be wrong, but it looks like Russia is preparing a big diplomatic move. Meanwhile, the Putin-loving MAGA faction, who listen to Dugin and others of that kind, are like lambs. They think the threat of war is coming out of the warmongers in Washington. They are primed to give Putin what he wants. What do you suppose Putin is ready to promise them?